Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Outpost Frequencies live stream brought to you by thelastmovieoutpost.com for all of your movie news, reviews, and everything cool about films. That's going to get worse every week. I'm your host this evening. Not George Lucas, and with me is Sean.
Konnichiwa. That's Korean for hello.
Pretty sure it's not. Isn't it? Isn't it Japanese?
I was trying to be offensive, and now you've ruined it.
Okay. I think I'm mildly offended. I don't know. I was going to do the slanty eyes thing, but I won't. And Drunken Yoda.
Oh, fuck. Are we live?
Yeah.
Sorry. I just saw the Batman.
You're going to need it to get through the 3 hours. Is it I've seen the extended version, which is 17 hours. With more. In fact, I've actually heard that Zack Snyder is taking notes from Matt Reeves about how to draw out a film even longer.
And Peter Jackson's going amateur.
I won't be happy until I have a 48-hour cut. Is it the original the Thin Red Line cut? I think is something from Terrence Malick is something like 8 or 9 hours. I don't know if you guys knew that or not.
Oh, no.
It's actually the length of the Vietnam War.
Yeah,
Yes.
World War II. It was from World War II.
I measure my cuts in weeks, buddy.
This is
You
the
amateurs.
This is the Fortnite cut.
So we will get on to Batman later, which is now doing the rounds and had mixed reviews and so forth. But Sean, you said you had some of the items on the website you wanted to talk about.
Yeah, some of the news that come out was the new Alien movie that's going to be.
I cannot wait.
Has nothing to do with sequel that has nothing to do with the past storylines and of course since Ridley Scott's involved, it can't be Neil Blomkamp's version, that's for sure. So
it seems like Ridley has given up. He's now got to a point where kind of it was a precious property to him, and no, you let nobody touch it, and now he just thinks, do it.
Well,
the yacht is costing me a fortune, so just write me another check, and I'll fine, do whatever.
The thing that bugged me about it was in the little story piece on the website, it mentions the writer pitched it to Ridley Scott, and he said, and I was like, wait a minute, why are they pitching this to him? Who thought it was a good idea to give complete creative control and approval to Ridley Scott on an Alien? I mean,
Does he own the license or something?
No, they just Fox
is that
before
Fox?
Disney. Yeah, before Disney bought them, they were like, since he's the expert on the Alien movies, we're just going to let him.
I don't know. The whole Hollywood legal wrangling is opaque as hell. So I don't know how much control or ability to do whatever the heck he wants is. I mean, I don't know. I mean,
I don't
certainly
get it.
he wasn't involved in like Aliens versus Predator or shit like that. In fact, I don't think he had any involvement on the Alien 3 or Alien. What was the last?
Actually, that's true.
Alien
Yeah,
Resurrection
maybe like
or-
executive producer, possibly, but I
Maybe.
don't recall it.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah.
The thing about it is like he didn't give a shit about the property until he got a hair up his ass to do Prometheus.
That is 10 years old.
Oh God,
Do you
is
believe
it
that?
really? No, is it really?
2012.
Christ.
Which is weird because I think it was just after that came out that I started watching the Batman.
You just finished it, did you? That explains the beard.
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't have. Yeah, he just is fresh out of the movie theater. It took him.
What?
the
What?
light.
We're at
Hey,
war
Bird.
with Russia again? Jesus Christ. What the hell is going on? The Cold War was just ending when I went in. Now we're back at it under nuclear threat.
Russia are still our enemies. Oh, thank goodness for that.
Oh yeah, right. Well, what's changed?
Yeah.
So and so the other piece of news is the much delay. something that we've all been wanting. I know I've been asking for it is a sequel to the Will Smith joint, I Am Legend. So there's a sequel to that with Jordan B. Peterson, or not Jordan B. Peterson. What's his name?
Jordan Peterson.
Michael B. Jordan. Yeah.
Why do you hate black people so much?
I like to see Jordan Peterson that, a bunch of zombies coming after him. He's going, clean your room.
I'd actually watch. I would be
make your bed.
Now tell me you wouldn't want you'd actually go.
I
see
totally
that
watch that. Are you kidding?
Yeah. No, Michael B. Jordan, I think. Yeah. So, and Will Smith is going to be in it again, even though he died in the first one.
Well, it depends which version you've seen, because there are two. There's a theatrical cut and a non-theatrical cut.
Well, the theatrical cut you got to assume is canon because, like that's the cut most people seen, right? And not everybody's like saying like, oh, well, this is obviously a take on the director's cut.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I didn't like you know what? I didn't like either of them with either cut. I was not a big fan of.
I didn't like it at all.
Oh, really? It's a film I've revisited a few times, and I quite like it. I think it's all right.
No, I mean it's a zombie movie again. I know that there's more to it because of the book and everything, but I don't know. I felt like the purpose of the book, if I understood it correctly, was that even though he's the last man on Earth and everybody's changed into, vampire zombies or whatever they are, the real subtle message was that he was the boogeyman.
Yeah, right. He's the monster.
He's the monster that stalks the population. Yeah. Because what is normal now? The normal is the population of vampires.
Trust the science.
Right. He's the boogeyman. He's the weirdo. And that didn't come across at all in the movie, in my opinion.
You can't make Will Smith too bad.
Yeah. Has he ever been the villain in any movie?
Aladdin?
I mean, not unintentional. I mean,
Oh, right, I see.
Well done, sir. Well done. I give that a 9.6.
That's the funniest thing you said. Oh, a long
Since
time.
we started
Ever.
this thing.
Yeah. I think Robin Williams thinks so. That he was the bad guy. But yeah, again, it's another one of these unoriginal. Because again, another story that I wrote up was about how they're going to be doing White Men Can't Jump with some white rapper guy who I've never heard of. Oh dear!
You've never heard of a white rapper? I can't imagine that would be the case.
No. Nobody.
There's so many of them.
Nobody gets better than Vanilla Ice. All right?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that's true.
Vanilla
go
Ice was
ninja,
the man.
go ninja, go ninja, go.
Hey, let's
go.
not forget the film that was unfairly snubbed by the Academy, Cool as Ice.
Oh yeah, I mean that was a classic. It was, like you say, snubbed. It was
I
horrible.
still say you haven't lived until you saw Vanilla Ice dancing with a bunch of Ninja Turtles.
Right,
His
I'm just looking at
finest
this guy.
moment, probably, yeah.
Apparently, this new version of White Man Can't Jump is starring a guy called Jack Harlow. And like I say, I looked up and listened to some of his music, and what immediately came across to me is how much the auto-tune was in overdrive.
Why do you need auto-tune for rapping?
That's
a fine question,
point.
sir. I'd like to subscribe to your newsletter.
That is a fine question because I have no idea. But I mean, apparently he nailed the audition. But I found out that it's being directed by a guy who basically directs R&B rap videos. So it's kind of right. So when you say he nailed the audition, you mean he's your friend and he turned up, is what you're actually saying.
He hired him to direct his first video. Is what it was.
He wasn't fall down drunk like most of them, so we just he was able to say his lines relatively articulately, so we went ahead with it.
But again, it's Hollywood, as somebody said on the talkback of how they're, quick, we need to get some ideas. Let's get that bucket of VHS videos we found behind Blockbuster and find some of it. Oh, look, this is a good one. White Men Can Jump. I don't think anybody can remember that. And then they off go and try to remake it.
Correct me if I'm wrong here because it was a long time ago, but
wrong.
It was kind of popular at the time, it seemed like. Now, it was one of those throwaway movies that a couple years later everybody forgot, but I remember the original was kind of popular, wasn't it? at the time.
That's what I remember. I remember it being pretty good.
I honestly can't remember anything about the plot other than
it's a dog shit movie, but it had Woody Harrelson and
Wesley Snipes giving Woody Harrelson a bunch of crap, and then they kind of become friends, and then
they hustle the street circuit.
Rosie Perez is in it, and you get to see her titties.
And then they robbed a Subway.
No, that you're thinking of
Money Train.
50. You're thinking of Passenger 57.
No, I'm thinking of Money Train. There is a
whatever.
They read it.
Passenger 57 was Arsenio Hall.
Oh,
you idiot.
because see, this is the shit I remember. I don't actually remember the plot or anything about White Man Can't Jump, but I do remember that it was so popular that this was going to be the next big duo. And their next movie was Money Train, which sucked ass, crashed and burned, and they've never started together in anything else again. So
yeah, and I remember that have tax problems and stuff, and so he didn't. Yeah, he's not really made much else either, has he?
Well, he was in that one that Eddie Murphy did a few years ago that went straight to Netflix, but was really, really good. It was about that B movie.
The
one about Dolomite.
Dolomite.
Yeah,
Dolomite is
my name is.
Which I really loved. By the way, I think that was a fantastic movie. It shows that Eddie Murphy still got it. Oh, give it a shot. It's great.
Real? Is it? Because I dismissed it out of hand because I thought it would be.
I don't know. You would have loved it. You, Mr. B movie.
Well, I was
exploitation bullshit. It was great.
What do you mean bullshit?
I take
offense to that.
It's a term of endearment.
No, I thought it would not.
That is pretty offensive, Yoda.
I thought that it would not be taking the subject matter seriously.
That's the one that got you guys, huh?
Yeah.
All this time, me saying exploitation is bullshit. That's the one. That's the line crosser, huh? Okay.
I mean, you're sitting here, and that's when I say things like Women's Prison Massacre is a good movie. Now I wonder if you guys aren't secretly thinking, is like, what the hell is he doing here?
Oh, I don't think it was a secret.
Yeah, I was going to say, no, we've pretty been vocal on that.
Yeah. I'm a slow learner. Listen to my accent. Do it sound like I catch on real fast to you?
Nope.
That'll hurt me. That'll hurt me later. Next week.
It'll sink in. It's starting to sink in through the first 4 or 5 layers.
2:00 in the morning, Sean wakes up.
Oh, we have comprehension.
It'll wait a minute. It'll be like that scene from The Simpsons where Bart's watching Ralphie. Look, you can see his heart breaking.
Frame by frame.
We have got some active chat on the go.
For some reason.
Yeah.
Maddink is back. Our fan. It's nice to see you, Maddink. Widley Squids.
We have 10 viewers.
It's Ridley Squat.
Right? Holy crap.
Ridley Squat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Welcome, everybody.
And we just had probably the best comment on there that I've ever seen. Gotta have my pop says, I always confuse white men can't jump with white man's burden. That's a very based comment. Oh my God.
It's good that we've got people actually making jokes on here. Well done.
I'm trying to think of something. I can't follow that. I can't follow that shit. God damn it, Pops.
Send him the link. That's better than anything we came up with.
Man, I started out quite well as well with my Aladdin joke, and then just look at this. I mean, it's just...
You got topped by Pops.
You got served.
Yeah.
So, I mean, with it then, do we need new movies and new IPs, or are we just now stuck in a place where we will be seeing the same thing churned out year after year after year?
I think that sums it up.
Scream 6,
mm-hmm.
Scream 7. The one where Sidney Bristow gets chased around by Ghostface and people get stabbed again.
Yeah.
This time she hits him with her walker.
It
squirts an IV right in his face. Take that, hey!
The thing I still don't understand is that these movies come out and they're still popular. People go and see them, and for some reason,
that's on us, isn't it?
Yeah, nostalgia's a big seller, man. especially
What,
now.
us three, or just us in general?
Well, everybody. It's funny to me that there's people that are so much younger than us, and they look back on the late '90s as like, oh, nostalgia. Oh, I want I want that movie from '97. Remember that old? Remember long time ago, back in 1998. Let's bring that back.
You know,
yeah.
2000? No way.
Yeah.
We give the boomers a lot of shit, deservedly so. But I don't remember them, clamoring and having all this stuff for like Howdy Doody movie or,
Well, they did
Mayberry.
different things. They bought Corvettes and
They actually had lives,
yeah.
and then they,
Yeah,
took
but the
over
cinema
Wall
was
Street,
always a
ruined the
big thing, wasn't
economy.
it?
But hey, maybe
You
we're a lot less
guys are-
harmless just collecting Star Trek bullshit.
Aren't you guys like big on drive-in movies and stuff? So they bought their Corvettes, but they must have gone to see movies in drive-in theaters.
Oh yeah, of course they did. But they.
Do you think they were actually watching the movies in those?
Yeah, they were like having.
They
I
had
would have
bench. They had bench
Can you get
seats.
off me, woman? I am trying to watch the film.
This is Stanley. This is Kubrick's new film. What are you doing? I ain't got time for that.
Well, I think you should walk home, to be honest.
If you can't appreciate the subtlety of the monolith, then I just don't see a future with us.
That would be such a great date.
Sadly, you're describing pretty much all of Generation X's dating experiences here, and it's no wonder most of us are either divorced or single or whatever.
I have a little tangent there. Speaking of first date, first date I ever had, and first date with the girl. We go to the movie theater, and I'm wearing jeans and a pair of white Chuck Taylors, and I'm sure every theater has their version of this, but it's called a graveyard, where they basically put every soda into one thing there to make this, drink. And it's just pretty good. But anyway, I'm sitting there with a large one. I got it, in my crotch area to hold it, and I'm getting ready to take a drink of it. And I lift it up and squeeze it too hard, and the whole thing just comes out all over myself, my crotch down. It soaks so far down that even my white Chuck Taylors become like rainbow color, look like tie dye. But so I'm sitting there, and she's like, "Oh, that sucks," but. She doesn't make a big deal out of it. So I'm sitting there because this started like the first 5 minutes of the movie. So there I am soaked in this soda for 2 hours almost. And then after we get out, I had to use the rest of the money I had that I was going to use on the date to go buy myself some clothes at Kmart. So I wasn't walking around and, dripping wet soda pants. Very embarrassing.
This was your first date.
Very first date, yes.
When was this, last week?
Dude, no, I was going to say, and
like
15 years later, they're still together.
No, I say Kmart kind of threw it because it had to be in the 80s. So,
it was it was like 93, I think, or
93. Okay.
Yeah.
And that's when you went into the Batman, and you just got out.
And I just got out. We went to see Batman. Have you guys seen that?
I'm just all over today, folks. The jokes just keep coming.
Bebop and zinging it all over the place. Did you see that meme that I posted on the LMO Facebook page? And it's it's 1989. I'm 8 years old. I just saw a darker, grittier Batman. Yeah. In 2008, I'm 14 years old. I just saw a dark and grittier Batman. It's 2022. I'm 40 years old. I just saw a darker and grittier Batman. Crack me
I want to see it in the future, sort of like I'm 80 years old. I went to see a Batman that was so dark it was just grunting in darkness. Every now and then Alfred would say something.
I do like somebody, and I couldn't even have a good retort for this because it's like it's really funny, but it also kind of made my soul die. And let me see if I can find it. Talk
again,
about
here we go with the quality and
Madlink
again, folks.
Madlink just said in the chat that there's a new Live and Die in L.A. That's terrible because that is a great movie that does not need remade or a sequel. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that one.
I have seen it, but a long time ago.
You should revisit
I don't recall it.
No, you should revisit it. It's a great movie.
Annoyingly, my watch list is getting longer and longer all the time. Somebody,
just like my tax.
I'm annoyed that I've always had a thing for controversial movies, and I found a list the other day called movies for the diseased mind, and it was things like Serbian movie and a few others. Funny enough, somebody actually put Justin Bieber's movie in there, which was quite funny. That made me laugh. But I found one the other day, and I looked it up.
The Putin watch list. I found that. I hate to interrupt, but this was the comment. It was like, I thought it was pretty funny, but also like, the late 90s, where you could go to the cinema and see a new Batman pick, the latest Scream sequel, a new Halloween starring Jamie Lee Curtis, Tom Cruise in Mission Impossible, James Bond, Jurassic Park, and a disappointing new Star Wars product. Those were the days.
Glad we're out of those.
That's pretty funny, and my soul just died.
That is pretty.
Yeah, it's strange, isn't it? Because there's the meme going around of what's his name in Robin Williams from Jumanji going, "What year is it?" all these movies are in the cinema, and we need a follow up to things like, talking about 1999. We think that the things, a follow up to like Fight Club and stuff like that, because I mean that just didn't end very well for me.
Well, the Chinese cut's apparently better.
That's the one to watch.
That's the one I recommend.
That was basically the equivalent of, and Poochie went back to his home planet.
out of morbid curiosity, I would have loved to see it.
I'm on fire, baby.
No sequel, but there are good movies out there we just don't know about. That is true.
That's not true. I tell you about good movies every week.
Yeah, exactly. But they're old stuff, is what Maddox is saying. That there are old movies out there which are actually really fantastic, that just nobody seems to find because they just don't get the press, or they don't get into the cinemas. Or
would you say the best, most original stuff right now is probably streaming series?
I would say that's true, yeah.
Did
you say series?
Mostly series. Some of them are limited. There's a few movies out there, but I I've talked about Yellowstone. The 1883 was a one-off. It's like 10 episodes and done. And,
oh, really?
Yeah, and it's one of the best things I've seen in a long time. And so,
which one?
1883.
No, that's what I thought you said.
He's been talking about it for 3 weeks, and you're just kind of like, what? What was that?
That sounds like American horse shit to me.
Yeah. It's 18. Right. Okay. No. And right. Okay. So I'm gonna have to look that up. I've never heard of it.
It's basically, so the original series called Yellowstone. It's set in the modern day. I've told you about that one. It's cowboy mafia, for if I really want to simplify it. But the story of the Duttons in the 1880s and how they got to Montana and got their plot of land.
So it's not really original. It's a prequel.
Is it a prequel? And it's just it's got to be the most realistic depiction of how shitty the Old West was, and it really embodies what Seth MacFarlane did in Jest. There's a million ways to die in the Old West, and they went through most of them.
So you mean the Old West wasn't polished like in High Noon, and everybody sort of backed each other up, and there was only one gunfight, and everybody was all quite nice to each other?
No, apparently Indians would dip their arrows in manure and then shoot you, so that even if you didn't die, you would. Sooner or later, you were going to die.
Yeah. So... the real feel-good series,
Yeah. I don't know. It's not a feel-good series, but it's not.
It is a good feel series.
It's not as depressing as you might think, but it is. I don't know. I was drawn along with it the entire time, and I'm not really a Western guy, but this one really works.
Fair enough. It is weird that, like I say, that a lot of the series that are coming out. I mean, like I say, I watched Reacher because of the recommendation we had on the site, and again, that was a decent series.
Great series, yeah.
And I do like the fact
I said,
You do. You'll like it.
I'll get started on it this week. That's the one. Yeah.
But I mean, back in the day, I said about Alias earlier with Jennifer Garner, which I loved when I was growing up. But I mean, that was a 24 episode of 45 minutes each, and it's just a lot to get through. But I think now they do them in sort of smaller chunks of maybe only 6 episodes or 8 episodes. It's kind of a little bit more watchable.
The one thing I dislike on this is they're releasing them one a week as if this was still 1975.
Yeah.
Just release the whole shebang and let us watch it at our leisure. That's the one thing I'll give Netflix. Here's your goddamn series right here.
Binge the whole thing.
They think they're keeping you from like subscribing for 1 month and what, but they don't realize that we can do that already with illegal websites. So they're not really saving anything.
Which the last movie Outpost does not condone in any way.
No, we don't.
Never would I use such illicit
Delete
means.
History search.
Oh, I use incognito mode. Don't do that. It's bad.
Mad Dinks one says, "Is it true that High Noon was lefties and El Dorado is righties?"
I think.
There's some merit.
I'm pretty sure he shot with his right hand, so I think it was righties.
That's not what he means.
Oh.
I think that there's, that's worth taking. I can see it, but maybe I don't know. It's possible. There's some merit. There's some merit to that theory.
Yes, some of those sites are illegal, Madding, and we don't know what any of them are.
Not a one. Not even the Pirate Bay. Oops.
I do like them. One of my favourite jokes is when every year it comes around, it's Talk Like a Pirate Day. And my favourite quote from that is, "I say that Adobe Premiere is very expensive."
I'm not
going to follow up.
Okay, all right.
I'm going
to tell my favorite.
I was just going to say, I'm going to follow up with another pirate joke, just very quick. What's a pirate's favourite letter?
R.
I don't know. R.
No, everybody thinks it's R, but his first love is the C.
Okay, my favorite pirate.
I'm out of here.
Guys.
All right, I'm going to tell my favorite pirate joke. Pirate comes in. He's got the the big helm wheel. He's got it like just attached to his belt buckle. It's just huge. This thing just attached to his belt buckle.
He's from Texas.
Yeah, it's enormous. And the bartender says, "That's a pretty large wheel you got there." He goes, it's driving me nuts."
Have you ever looked up the urban?
Thank you very much.
The Urban Dictionary pirate. What is it called? Oh man, but never mind. It's too foul for me even to say on YouTube. I shouldn't have even started. But
funny enough, it seems as we always end up going down this route. There was an old series back in the day in the 70s, I think it was, on British TV called Captain Pugwash, and apparently all the way through it were these horrendous gay jokes which kids didn't understand. And apparently Pugwash, if you look it up, is something very unpleasant. And there was characters, like I remember, called like Roger the Cabin Boy. And obviously somebody wrote all this, sent it to the BBC as a laugh or whatever. Then they turned it into a series. These kids are going, "Oh, I love a good Pugwash."
No, you don't. No, you don't. Can we talk about Batman, please?
Yeah, let's get to Batman that I didn't see.
I'm still halfway through it, so I'm going to go.
Okay, we're going to do spoilers, all right? Because
if you haven't seen the Batman yet, there will be spoilers.
There will be spoilers. So if you haven't seen it, I'm just warning you now. You have your fair warning. Spoilers ahead. Arr. So I don't know why I did that. The movie, I said my hot take review was this was the greatest 2.5 hours of Batman ever put on film. Unfortunately, the movie is 3 hours.
My spoilers, just to say, is of the Batman is 1, he smells, and 2, Robin laid an egg.
Joker did not get away though.
There's a third Simpsons reference this episode. What's going on here?
That was well before the Simpsons.
I know.
Look, I'll
That's
tell you
what
what,
probably most people nowadays would recognize that from.
Yeah, I know, which makes me feel old.
Maddings has just said that he hasn't seen it yet, so we will try to keep it as spoiler-free as possible.
No,
I'm going to spoil the hell out of it. Speak for yourself.
We won't mention that Batman dies at the end at all.
That's what killed it. I mean, we're going to go from there.
You say that in jest, but in a way,
metaphorically speaking,
Batman died at the end.
Because
I have my reasons for saying this. So let's get into it. Let's get started. So it starts out, Batman's been going on for 2 years, right?
So this is not year one like it was sort of people theorized it was going to be Batman year one.
No, it's been going on for 2 years, Sean, so it's year
Batman,
2.
Batman year 3. And it's Halloween night, and the mayor gets murdered. And this kicks off a whole investigation. And Batman is brought into the investigation by Lieutenant Gordon. And the whole thing is trying to figure out, one, who the Riddler is and where he is, and two, who is doing the murders. And he's murdering and he's targeting corrupt politicians, cops, DAs, that sort of thing. And almost all of them are corrupt except for probably Jim Gordon and Batman, from what I can tell.
And for some reason, at each of the crime scenes, we find out there's always a note to Batman.
Right, because the Riddler believes that Batman is on his side, and he doesn't understand that Batman has lines that he won't cross. Right, and it all kind of culminates into finding out a lot of past history, finding out who was Snitch, who got the Maroney gang, but it turns out a lot of people are paid off, and it was really just to get Carmine Falcone to basically own the city. And that is all brought down by the end. Have I summed it up reasonably well?
Yeah.
Okay.
And there's a man with a funny mask.
More would happen between that, though. That doesn't
well,
seem like...
I mean, there's so much that happens. It's kind of like the Long Halloween. I mean, what's the Long Halloween? Crazy woman starts murdering bad people, and it takes all year for Batman to figure it out and find the person. And it's all the story in between and the relationships and things like that. Now, the ending, when it ends, when they finally figure out who's done it and everything, and they capture the Riddler. The Riddler does that kind of tired thing where he basically wants to get captured, gives himself up.
So is he like a serial killer in this or something?
Yeah.
I did not see him eat any breakfast. No.
I mean, I wouldn't say he's a serial killer because he likes to kill.
That was quite good.
It wasn't.
No,
we're going to
nice
ignore
try.
it and keep moving on.
We're just breezing on by, bud. I just waved at it as I ran by in the car. The Riddler is killing because he believes there's so much injustice that's been done to him. He was an orphan, and there was supposed to be the Thomas Wayne Foundation was supposed to take care of the orphanages. They called it Renewal. It was this whole thing, and but then Thomas Wayne got killed, and Renewal turned into just a big giant slush fund for everybody. And guys like him were, waking, when they were kids, they were waking up to rats eating their fingers and things like that, So he's pretty.
Which I didn't get. I live in England. That happens all the time.
Well, that's,
So you can
third
relate.
world country,
Oh, yeah, right.
The end, when they figure out the Riddler and and they find him, that's when the movie takes, because at that point when they captured the Riddler and Batman talks to him, to me that was the ending point. They figured everything out. The bad guys who were either murdered or were brought to light, there was a lot of ways they could have taken it to kind of wrap up all the loose ends, but instead, all of a sudden, Riddler, who has been very specific in going after people that were, in his mind at least, were criminals and corrupt. Now, he believes Bruce Wayne is corrupt, but that's more of him being jealous because even though Bruce Wayne was an orphan, he got to grow up in a mansion and he had all kinds of money. So what's he bitching about?
He's got so much privilege.
He's got so much privilege. Yeah. That's when they throw out that kind of stuff. All of this, all of these, the actual mystery itself hangs upon Catwoman's friend or possibly girlfriend. It's not really clear.
She made it clear she was bi. Zoe Kravitz has made it clear that Catwoman and Selena Kyle was bi.
Yes, because this is very important. And this girl knows things and she gets murdered, and Catwoman is trying to find out who murdered her.
Her girlfriend got killed.
Her girlfriend got killed. So Catwoman's trying to figure out who murdered her girlfriend. And a lot of that is what gets us from one point to the next, along with Riddler murdering corrupt people. So between those two things, they all kind of come together, and it's all kind of, the whole mystery is figured out by about the 2 hour and 30-minute mark. Would you say that's about right, George?
Yeah.
Then, for no reason at all, Riddler decides he's going to put vans down by the river, down by the seawall shorefront, blow them up, and flood the fucking
mildly
city.
Spoiler points.
I don't know why he wanted to do this. I have no idea he wanted to do
That's the bit I didn't understand either. I didn't get that bit either.
And his following, which is only slightly bigger than last movie Outpost, is full of people that, kind of probably are mentally unstable to begin with, who take his message to heart, and they go in to the flooded amphitheater. It's like Madison Square Garden, and they want to shoot the new mayor, and they want to shoot people and create chaos. And I don't know why all of a sudden this, it's like they threw in the Joker's plan out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And then
the whole last bit, I was left confused with that as well.
Yeah. And Batman beats up most of the guys to save the mayor, to save the people. And one of the guys says, and they ask him, "Who are you?" And he goes, "I am vengeance." And that's what Batman has been saying the whole thing. I am vengeance. I am the night. Right. And suddenly he decides he's not going to be vengeance anymore. And he goes down to rescue a bunch of people, and he brings out a torch and he leads them out. He looks like Moses leading the Jews out of Israel.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
if
oh,
he just parted the water, it would have been perfect.
I'm like, what is going on here? All of a sudden, Batman realizes it's not a good thing to beat criminals in the face. No, that's his whole thing. And I guess he's going to continue to be Batman, but they don't. This is where I thought, I don't think the writer really likes Batman. I don't think he likes him.
See, again, I know that at the end sequence, when he's carrying the torch and everything else, it seemed incredibly dramatic. But I didn't understand why it was overly hyped that he was doing this. Because I was thinking, he's a good guy and he's rescuing people. I don't see the issue.
I'm not saying that Batman wouldn't rescue people. I'm saying that this weird epiphany that he had, that he shouldn't be vengeance anymore. I'm like, he's always been vengeance.
Get that. I didn't get that.
Remember,
from it.
he just kind of looked at him, and you could see the look on his face.
Oh no,
yeah. I'm having an epiphany. I'm like, hey, Jesus Christ, what is? You've been doing this for 2 years. I think you've got this figured out. And because he won't kill people, he's still doing it for justice, but he is vengeance for what happened. Now, I thought this is my made up ending that I would like to have seen. After they capture the Riddler and everything, and the Riddler realizes that Batman isn't with him. Throughout the movie, the one thing that I don't think they did quite right, although it could have been a plot point, was the portrayal of Bruce Wayne, who was emo and angry and did not see. Bruce Wayne should be the mask, kind of. Like, he is Batman, yes, but he plays Bruce Wayne, this playboy, millionaire playboy, right? But he also, at least, in most of the stuff that I've seen, it wasn't like Bruce Wayne was, he did that and just made Bruce Wayne completely useless. He still ran Wayne Enterprises. He still did all sorts of philanthropic work. He used the Bruce Wayne persona within the law and with his money to do really good things, either to build new technologies and stuff that invariably got used by Batman. But also, I mean, some of it went to a ridiculous degree, like he built the Watchtower. Wayne Enterprises funded the Watchtower thanks to erasing a couple of line items in the book. Like, right, okay.
What, the thing the Jehovah's Witnesses read?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes, they can read that giant satellite in the sky, and they think it's God. Insulting everybody today. We don't care. I'm just saying that what they should have done at the end is that he should have had kind of like, okay, I'm going to continue to be Batman. I'm continuing to beat criminals in the face, but I'm also going to use my Bruce Wayne persona to do things beyond that, things that can't be solved with my fists. And I'm going to put on the mask of Bruce Wayne to keep myself separated from Batman, but also use my money and my... If they had done that at the end, I would have said this would have been a perfect Batman movie. And leave off that entire thing with the fans and the water and rest. All of that, just go away. That half hour. Just wrapped it up, have him be a better Bruce Wayne, not just a better Batman. I would have thought this was a perfect Batman movie. But
it sounds really dumb. That ending sounds really dumb.
Thank you.
The whole
the one I'm making up or the actual ending?
No, the actual ending.
Okay.
Like I say, the whole last 30 minutes of it, the whole epiphany bit, and it went into this whole long sequence, which is a good 5 minutes of sort of slow motion of him and I was thinking, why is he making such a big deal of this? He's saving everybody. That's what he does. That's what Batman does. Is he defeats the bad guys. And you just explaining and saying about how he's been having this, epiphany of no, he's not vengeance anymore. That completely went over my head altogether.
Well, I mean, I'm reading what I'm seeing on screen. I mean, if that's not what was meant or something, but he certainly, I mean, Catwoman kept calling him Vengeance all the time instead of calling him Batman for some reason. People kept calling him Vengeance, like a nickname, which I've never seen anybody do before. And then when Riddler's henchman says, "I am Vengeance," that's when it came together for him. Because Catwoman kept saying, "Hey, Vengeance, what are you doing, Vengeance? Hey, Vengeance, you want to get a cup of coffee?" That kind of thing. I'm like, oh, Jesus.
Maybe it got to the point that my brain had, I don't want to say checked out, but I was at a point that it had been on for so long. I was looking at my watch and thinking, ugh.
That's not a good sign too. When you're, there's some movies that are 3 hours. They don't feel like an hour, but when you're looking at your watch, man, that's not a good sign.
I was not. I tell you, from the first 2.5 hours until Riddler got caught, until the van thing started, I was hooked. I thought it was great. I thought it was doing a really good job and setting up a lot of interesting ideas, and then it just shit the bed completely.
It's like you've always said, Sean, that the greatest crime a movie can commit is to bore you. And I don't want to say I got bored a lot earlier on than that, but I was just very conscious of the time of the whole thing. It had, to me, it dragged out a lot. If this movie was an hour and a half, I probably would have felt completely different about it. But knocking on that 3 hour mark was far too long for me.
Well, I mean, I'll go back to Lord of the Rings, Fellowship, and Two Towers. I mean, those were, even the theatrical versions were each exceeding 3 hours long. I never felt it in those. I think you could do a 3 hour movie if you're doing it correctly, but
yeah, that's the thing.
It hit that moment. It hit that 2.5 hour moment. That was a logical conclusion for so many things. You just wrap up a few things and end the movie. But then they tacked on this whole thing that Riddler did that was completely out of character from what he had been doing up until then. And performances were fine. Paul Dano was great. I think Pattinson was a good Batman. Jeffrey Wright, I like Jeffrey Wright a lot. I think his Lieutenant Gordon was just basically, what do you think, Batman? What do you think, Batman? What do
The
you
only
think?
thing that got me about his performance was, when I put the video up with myself and Eggy talking about it, Eggy said that he can't stand Jeffrey Wright.
No.
He just doesn't like him. And he said that he is completely devoid of personality in any of the roles that he's played. And I said that what got me was it seemed like Lieutenant Gordon had laryngitis. And I kept wanting him to go and then talk normally, because he was always very gruff like this.
That's Jeffrey Wright in every movie. Yeah.
You know, and it was a shame, because it just really took me out of it. And I said it was a bit like Ocean's 11, where in the remake of Ocean's 11, everybody's trying to out-cool each other. And everybody's trying to be as cool as they possibly can. And I'm going to be cooler than George, and I'm going to be cooler than Brad, and all this kind of stuff. And that's what I thought Jeffrey Wright was doing, was just, well, Batman's pretty cool, but I can be really cooler if I talk like this. You know?
Nobody's cooler than Batman. Come on.
But that's the impression I got.
You know, I got to tell you, Batman's a dumb character. Can't help, sorry guys, but it's just one of the stupidest comic book characters.
It is, in real life, why would a billionaire dress up like a bat to punch bad guys? I mean, obviously it's
not
it's
just
ludicrous.
that, but his whole ethos. I'm not going to use guns or kill anybody. I'm going to lock the same guy up over and over, and he's going to break out and then murder, and then but I'm not going to. The Punisher, that's the way you do it. That's how you change. Gotham.
There's been some interesting stories, like the Dark Knight Returns, right? Where Batman says, all the people I've murdered because I wouldn't murder you, because I wouldn't break my rule. But I mean, I think there's some see, the best Batman stories go through some interesting philosophical ideas about murdering the bad guys instead of putting them through the court system of justice, even if the justice doesn't always work, because justice has to be blind, it has to be impartial, right? And if you're killing out of vengeance, the one thing I liked a lot in this movie was when she wanted to kill Falcone, and the cop and by the way, Maddie, you say, did the Riddler killed the girlfriend? No, it was the mob boss Falcone that did it, or at least one of his,
because basically
cop.
She was. I was going to say, yeah, she's kind of sleeping around with quite a lot of high-profile people, right. And she obviously knew a lot of secrets. And this is the beginning of the movie, so we're not spoiling anything too much there.
No, but he stops her from killing Falcone, and she says he doesn't. He says he doesn't deserve to live. He's like, well, don't throw your life along with it. Don't throw your life away along with it, which I think is, admirable. I mean, like, if she shot him, she'd go to jail too, right? Yeah, he'd be dead, but, put him through the wheels of justice. Personally, I'm all for putting these guys into jail for 40 years and letting them rot and have pain for a long time. Killing's too easy for them. But
see him biting a pillow.
But it never works that way in real life or especially the Batman.
Nothing's perfect. I agree, and you're right. And part of that is because they have to keep making the stories, and you gotta.
Yeah, of course.
I get all that, but I mean, the best stories are generally Batman stories, and the reason why is because he goes through a lot of these philosophical things. He puts these limitations on himself and then questions whether or not these limitations are a good thing or a bad thing. Why shouldn't he use a gun? I mean, it's silly. It's a tool, right? But he doesn't. That's his thing. I get it. And
I mean, he can
shoot him in the leg.
He can beat people until they're crippled for life.
Right.
But
and
you're
not going to shoot him
to the justice system yet. But shooting them, that's just too much.
Yeah, he has the bat plane, which is equipped with missiles, which is basically a flying gun. But sure, you're not going to use a handgun. You could pick it apart entirely, and you gotta for any of these Caped movies.
I won't cripple you, but your medical bills will.
Yeah.
And now I'm going to make sure you only have an HMO.
Now, not only am I going to cripple you, but I'm going to cripple the Gotham City taxpayers, because they're going to have to foot the bill for everything I do for you while you're in prison.
Exactly, yeah.
It's like none of it is Bruce Wayne secretly, footing the bill for all the people that he cripples and beats up and shit.
There was some stories where he went a little too far with some henchmen that had a kid, and then he ended up not only taking care of his medical bills, but getting him a job at Wayne Enterprises, things like that. So I mean, when they do that kind of stuff, I find it interesting because it adds some layers and texture to Batman. That
I would argue that if you're going to do that sort of thing, you don't have any business being a vigilante.
well, and is he truly just a vigilante? I mean, a vigilante would just kill people, right?
Well, the law is not sanctioning him going out and like breaking a guy's legs without finding him guilty.
The law is the one that set up a whole bat signal on top of the goddamn building. I think that.
Yeah, I mean,
I think he's sanctioned.
That's the whole stupidity of it. It's like, well, I'll follow the law. Well, dude, you're out here. You're not a cop. You're out here beating people. Nothing of you've done is proven them guilty in a court of law. But you're going. You
know what's funny? If
like
the
they
original
would like cops.
The original Batman show with Adam West, they make it a point to say, no, Batman and Robin are duly deputized officers of the Gotham Police.
Yeah.
Hold up your right hand. Your right hand.
I state your name. I, Batman.
I, Bruce Wayne. Batman.
Batman, damn it.
Batman.
I mean, Bruce W. No, that's too obvious. B. Wayne. There's a fourth Simpsons reference right there for you.
That's a deep cut. I love the movie until I absolutely hated it. I mean, that's really what. And it took me like a couple of hours of digesting because I walked out of it and go, that was pretty good, but there was something sticking in my craw, and I watched some other guys' opinions and tried to figure out what was bothering me about it, and I can't get over that completely. I mean, that ending is tacked on. I can't. It feels like Suits saying we need a bigger ending, bigger with explosions.
I bet that's the case. I bet that's really the case. I bet that.
I didn't feel like a bigger cut though. It wasn't an ending like, I don't know, off the top of my head, Endgame, obviously, which is like a stupidly large ending. But I mean, that was an ending and a conclusion. This felt like the story got to a point and then it just set up the second movie.
Yeah, I mean, it was 30 minutes that didn't need to be there.
No.
And I'm like, what did you do? There was 30 minutes of movie just stapled to the end of the movie. I agree.
See, I would say that with the 3-hour time mark, the thing that really got to me about it is the fact that I don't think you needed any of the Penguin scenes. You could have cut all those out and put them into a DVD extra, and it wouldn't have made any difference to the story. He helps it along slightly, because he meets Catwoman because of her and stuff. But I mean, the bit where he turns up at the Penguins Club was kind of, really? I
didn't mind that too much, and part of the reason is that Colin Farrell's probably the best thing in this movie. And
oh yeah, totally.
And I could not tell that was Colin Farrell, not one iota. I mean, sometimes you kind of like, oh, I see him through the makeup. No, I don't know how they did it, but man,
don't get me wrong, he was brilliant in it, but I just felt that his role in it was just, it didn't help the story along, and I just kept thinking how much shorter the film would have been if you cut most of his scenes out.
You need him for the car chase.
I heard Yellow Flash. I heard Yellow Flash 2 say that was the greatest car chase he's ever seen in film. That? I don't know. Yeah,
nowhere near it.
I thought that was a little.
It was fine. Yeah, a little dark. The whole movie is dark, and it is at night. I like the look of it. I like the grime of the city. I like that the city looked dark and dirty, but it didn't look like some stupid Gotham fairy tale, like Gothic, all that. It looked like a real city, but it looked horrible, like Chicago.
Apparently a lot of people on Twitter are very offended by the film because it made them think of their own shithole city and overrun with crowd. I'm being serious. I've seen.
Really?
Yeah. It was like there's several, YouTube commenters have made videos about how all the people that live in these big urban shitholes are complaining.
For somebody who lives in England and it rains a lot, I was completely offended.
Well, it made them think about, like, they saw, was like, hey, that's kind of like where I live.
Yeah.
That could be Detroit, man. Oh man, it really is pretty
Well,
crappy.
they were going to film in Detroit, but they were like, "Nah, this is too crappy."
Yeah, it's like nobody will believe this.
I can see somebody setting up a camera on a tripod and turning around for a second and then turning around, the camera's gone.
I don't know. I loved it so much. I mean, the movie actually, the more I think about it, it almost makes me angry how badly they shit the bed at the end. Or the last 30 minutes shit the bed. And I'm just like going, no.
I have a different take on it. I felt the opening sequences were pretty good, and I liked the depth of field shots and everything else, and it kind of set me up for what it was. I didn't know what to expect from this. I didn't actually see any of the trailers. The only clip that I saw of the whole movie was the car chase that we put up on the site the other day. So I didn't know what to expect. After a while, I found that the art house direction and the long shots with the deep focus and everything else actually started to grate me a bit. And I just thought, okay, we get it. You're being arty and everything else. Let's just see what happens. And somebody said that they did shoot some of it to try and get away with the PG-13, which was then weird because it was a 15 in the UK, which is kind of not a 12A, or a 12. It's a 15, which is more along the lines of R. And I mean, I didn't see anything in there that made it a 15 at all, to be perfectly honest. I didn't think the violence was particularly that bad.
The violence was it wasn't like it was graphic, but it was a bit disturbing in how the Riddler went about it, but not. I'm old and I've seen so much of it. I'm just trying to think from a kid's eyes and be a little, a little creepy.
It made the Serbian movie look like a comedy.
Yeah. I like the way it looked, and I like I like that most of it was at night, and I like that it felt dark and grimy and gritty, and it was all shot well. Although some people complained how dark it was or how colorless it was. I was fine with all that. I thought it looked good. Felt like a Batman the Animated Series kind of looked to me, and almost.
Well, Eggy, who couldn't make it here this evening, like I say, I did have a chat with him, which I will get up on the website. But I mean, he said that if you think that Marvel is a comic book, it's more like the DC series are graphic novels, and I think that's a good way. It's a good analogy. Of the two. That generally the Marvel movies are quite bright and colourful and everything else, whereas the DC stuff is much darker and put in that kind of way.
Maybe.
Like you say,
I don't know. One thing you could say about the MCU is that at least it has, for the most part, a pretty consistent tone. And the DCEU is like, we don't give a crap. We're going to do dark, brooding. We're going to do the Joker. We're going to do Man of Steel. We're going to do Shazam. We're going to do Peacemaker. We're going to do the Suicide Squad. We don't give a crap. You don't know what the hell tone we're getting. It's a grab bag, folks. So I don't know. I like... There was so much to like about this Batman and so much to dislike. So I'm really of two minds of this one.
We've had Hashir say that the Batman was great. I love the complete experience unexpectedly. Sure. And I know that there are people that have, like I say, Eggy was, really for it. He's not a huge Batman fan. I know he likes DC. But he made some actually good points in the chat that we had about, which actually not changed my mind, but makes me want to see the film again. He said about the whole emo Bruce Wayne and how he saw it more as what Bruce Wayne should be like. We've seen like the Christian Bale Bruce Wayne where he's kind of, buying restaurants and flirting with women and all this kind of stuff. Whereas I can't remember how Aggie put it now, but the Bruce Wayne in this one was much more subdued because of everything that he has gone through. And, he is fighting criminals at night and then not being able to do anything during the day. There's a scene at the beginning that I didn't understand why he put his sunglasses on. And Eggy sort of said that he's just not used to the light. He lives in the darkness.
I totally agree with him. And I think that's why I said if at the end they had that he would have realized that because of what happened with his dad and what happened with the renewal slush fund that his dad created and how it got totally wrecked because his dad died and he was totally focused on being Batman. and he very rarely did anything as Bruce Wayne. And I feel like because the mayor came out and he said, I want to talk to you, and we need, you could be a good force in this city. I think that was leading up to that, where it's like the Bruce Wayne persona can be valuable too. And yes, you could put on the act of being a millionaire playboy, but that in the comics and in a lot of TV shows, he was more than that. He did have the playboy thing going on, but he ran Wayne Enterprises, and he created a lot of good, and he did all sorts of charitable and philanthropic work with his money. And that's valuable too. That can help the city too. And I feel like they were leading up to that. That they put in little seeds there to lead up to that. And then he could have, cut his hair, came out and said, you know what, I've ignored this city too long. I have, been too much into myself because of what happened to my parents, but my dad wouldn't have wanted it this way. And I'm going to announce the getting rid of renewal. I knew that we will make sure
stealing money and
I'm going to keep an eye on this, and we're going to help the orphanages of Gotham or something like that. He can't do that as Batman. And Batman still has you need him to punch Penguin in the face. That's great. But you also need Bruce Wayne to do some of these other things during the day. And that felt like it was trying to be explored. And then, no, we're going to blow up the seawall and flood the city. And we're going to do all that shit. And then Moses Batman is going to lead the Jews out of the... I'm like, what is going on here?
Like I say, I didn't know what to expect from the film. And maybe if I had watched the trailers, I would have been more mentally prepared for it. And so, I mean, like I say, again, talking to Eggie, I will give it another try, but I don't know, like I say, there were silly things that were going on in my mind, and I kind of hate myself for doing this, but in the movie I kept thinking, right, how many Batmans have we had movies now? So we've had Adam West, we've had Michael Keaton, it's like this is the 7th one. And then I kept thinking about how DC doesn't have any coherence with them. They have been trying, and I'm not being funny, but they've been trying to do what Marvel have done, and they've kind of missed the mark. And then Eggie explained that the Penguin is now set up to do his own TV series, apparently, in the future at some point in time as a spin-off. And it's, again, they're trying to sort of shoehorn that in, but then what's happening? And my brain kept going to all these different places. And so I just felt, like I say, I'm annoyed at myself for doing it, but I couldn't then just sit there and enjoy it, because I don't think the film was just grabbing my attention throughout.
I mean, I will say this is probably the one thing about Batman is that you could do a lot of different things with him. For some reason, I started watching the Batman, the Brave and the Bold. It was it's older. I mean, it was like 2010, 2008. I don't know. It was Diedrich Bader voiced Batman. It's a lighthearted, but not an Adam West, but it has a lot of funny moments in it of Batman teaming up with all kinds of different DC heroes in all sorts of wacky adventures, but he plays it so straight, which is interesting, and it makes me laugh. I mean, you could do that with Batman. You could do the Adam West with Batman. You could do the gothic fairy tale with Michael Keaton. You could do the more realistic city-saving Batman with Christian Bale. You could do Batfleck, which is more the Justice League kind of thing, an older Batman. And you could do this, which is much more detective Batman. The only thing you can't do is George Clooney Batman. That will always fail. But, I mean, there's so many ways to do Batman that can be fun and interesting. I just did, and I was so hooked. I'll be honest with you. I unabashedly loved it. If that's what you're looking for out of Batman, you're looking for a dark detective tale a la Last Halloween or something like that. It had everything you wanted. It just went on a half hour too long and just screwed up everything that I feel that it set up.
Right. Let's talk about something else. Let's talk about the car.
That is the angriest Batmobile I've ever
seen. Somebody said, I think somebody mentioned it earlier about the car, which I can't see there now. No, I can't see it now. But somebody sort of said they said it was kind of the worst one. I did like the fact. One thing that I've kind of with the previous Batman movies always been annoyed at is the fact that Bruce never built any of the stuff himself. He always got it imported from Taiwan or China or wherever it one might be. And for me, I've kind of always thought that Iron Man was better because Iron Man was building his own stuff, and so obviously he was much clever. But in this one, there is a great shot.
It's a lot more fun at parties, I guarantee that.
Yeah, that's right. Give me a melon. In this one, I did like the fact that the car at one point was kind of laid out in bits and that he was working on it. And obviously he was mechanically minded and intelligent enough to build this car with this rocket on the back of it, I suppose is the best way to describe it. And
the only thing I had a problem with is that it felt like it was always in this, because apparently this went on, if I heard it correctly, this started on Halloween and it ended like on November 6th or 8th or something like that.
Yes, it's about a week or so's time, yeah.
And I mean, that car was a mess. I mean, there was nothing resembling a car at the beginning. And then all of a sudden he has a fully working rocket car just there. And I don't know how was it in the back? Did I miss something? I can't believe he built it that quick. It was in the back garage.
No. He took it to his local garage. The bloke's going, "Yeah, we'll be able to have that done by Thursday, mate. Yeah, of course. It's in pretty rough condition. You put a rocket on the back of it, did you? Yeah, no, I don't know much about rockets, but I'll give it a look. Yeah." But the car itself was pretty good, and the car chase was good. I certainly wouldn't put it in one of the best car chases I've ever seen.
There were times I was struggling to figure out where things were, and there was a little too much. That's the one place where I got a little irritated at how dark it was shot, and I understand it's night. I mean, it wasn't terrible, but there were times I lost track of what was going on.
To me, it was very reminiscent of the car chase in Spectre. The James Bond Spectre, where they had Dave Bautista, I think it was, and they both had one was an Aston Martin and one was another very expensive car, Ford Fiesta or something, I don't know.
Yeah, that's what it was.
But they were driving through Italy or wherever they were, and again these cars are sort of, and I just thought it was a very lackluster scene of a car chase, whereas James Bond has had some outstandingly brilliant car chases, and this one was just, it was good. And I mean the final crux of it is obviously when he then does the jump and goes through the flames and lands and everything else. That was great.
But nice if that wasn't in the trailer.
Yeah,
because I just kept waiting for him to get to that point. That's the other part. That's the worst thing when you see something like that in the trailer. When you get to we're at the car chase. I'm just waiting for him to say, "I got you," and then he comes out. Because it's coming. So everything up to that feels just like you're, biding time to get to that point.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
again, that's so
that took away the trailer. The trailer effed the car scene.
Yeah, and okay, let's talk about then Alfred. Because apparently somebody said, I'm sure I've seen a review on it, and somebody said that he is in there for something like less than 10 minutes of the entire movie.
That might be true. I didn't notice it being too little or too much. Circus was good, and the way the plot was working out, I didn't have a problem with it. I was fine. I don't know.
It's kind of, in a 3-hour movie, you'd expect a bit more than 10 minutes.
Who plays Alfred in this one?
Andy Serkis.
Gollum. And he didn't once say precious.
No.
Batman's my precious.
Batman doesn't like you. Nobody likes you.
I mean, Serkis is always great. I mean, Serkis is a unbelievably underrated actor. I mean, the guy is fantastic, but I just felt he kind of just wasn't particularly used in this.
Well, he did get blown up halfway through and was in a coma for half of the movie, so there is that.
That does kind of crimp your style when you're in a coma for a bit.
Yeah.
Mm. Okay, then, so let's talk about Zoe Kravitz as Catwoman.
She looked like your little sister playing dress up.
Who's also had an accident with the scissors and cut her own hair.
Yeah. Look, she's fine as an actress. I don't think she was too small. to be Catwoman. Now, to the movie's credit, when she came up against Batman, Batman overpowered her pretty damn quick. It wasn't much that she could do, but the rest of the time she was kicking people's asses twice her size, and she looks like she weighs about 85 pounds soaking wet. And
I didn't get much of the chemistry between the two of them either.
Yeah.
So they're not going to have the love story between them like they did in the Nolan Batman, I guess. None of that.
I mean, there is a couple of kisses, not to spoil anything, but there are a couple of kisses between Batman and Commissioner Gordon. No,
No.
the film's gone all woke.
That was pretty good. That was passionate. I felt
Very
it.
steamy.
I felt the love.
I think I've downloaded the wrong one. But again, for me, the issue was, and I hate myself for doing this, was I remember seeing the headlines where she was explaining how Catwoman was bi, and it was just kind of, and there was a couple of mentions of like white male privilege, and again, it was kind of just shoehorned in there, and I always get the impression that she is quite that woke type of person.
Well, let's talk about that.
Which is weird because she's getting all the work because of it. But anyway.
Did you hear about the reviewer that got lit up on Twitter because he came out of the movie and he said he had like a half hour, 45-minute long thing, and for one sentence he said, I didn't like that every white guy in this is evil except for Batman and Alfred. And all the minority people are good.
His name? From Geeks and Gamers, right? He got like a million.
Yeah, and he got lit up. I'm like going, yeah, but that's okay. Do I have a particular problem with Jeffrey Wright or even of the casting of this as far as minorities and stuff go? Not really, because I think everybody acted just fine. We could talk about physical, presence and things like that. That's not something an actor can really help to a certain extent. But I didn't have a problem with that. But my problem is that you guys made this a thing. You made race the most important thing. No, you did.
Yeah.
You said if you don't like that we change out white people for black people, you're racist with your simpleton attitudes towards all this. And so even if these are good actors and they're doing a good job, and this maybe is, because 20 years ago, 25 years ago, sometimes they would do this occasionally, where they would race swap or they would put in a black character that you didn't expect. But we didn't think much of it because they were trying to do something different, and it was just interesting. We didn't think of it as you're trying to shove the message down our throat and just assuming, because you all are fucking racist, and you are. Everybody in Hollywood is a piece of shit racist. And you do this because you assume that everybody thinks like you. You assume that every fanboy out there that complains about this is a simple-minded fool who only cares about race. And so now you can reap what you sow. When people start arching their eyebrows and asking these questions, you brought this shit on yourselves. And you deserve all the criticism you get at this point. If you didn't make the message so fucking important, then there wouldn't be a problem and people wouldn't be questioning all this. So you've made this bed. You can fucking lie in it as far as I'm concerned.
Gosh, he's going to sleep well tonight, isn't he?
It's so tiring.
He was on a roll. I thought I'm not going to interrupt because it is true though that Hollywood is getting to a point. Oh, by the way, Maddock, it's just orange juice. That's all it is. I'm one for cordials in the evening.
I got the real stuff here.
It's not my own pee. I gave up on that.
He's not rich enough to stick with. He's like, you're in yet.
What was the point we were making? Yeah, Hollywood has got to this point where they've kind of ruined everything, and now they're sort of blaming everybody else. And it's kind of, no, you all you wanted to do was preach this message. I'm going to come back to Star Wars again. They were saying about how the Force is female before the movie was even made. They were making it about a statement before anything was even shot.
Yeah, they decided that, and then they were like, okay, now let's design this movie around that.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
If you introduce just a strong female character, we've had Ripley in the past, and even like Tomb Raider, the game and everything else. Everybody loved Lara Croft and stuff because it wasn't forced. It was just great to see a female in that kind of role. But now it always is an agenda, and because it's now being forced, it feels so awkward.
Well, the whole civil rights era was a grand lesson on understanding that the immutable characteristics, our race, our sex, our skin color, all that kind of stuff was the least important parts of ourselves. And that our talents, our integrity, our actions are the most important parts of ourselves. And they have regressed, retarded into this simpleton mindset where the only thing that's important is race, sex, and who you're doing. And it's stupid, it's moronic, you are dumb idiots, and you are hateful racists. And I'm sorry, but you are. Everybody in Hollywood is a hateful racist. I don't mind saying it anymore, except for, I'm sure, a small few. They've created this nastiness, and they are destroying all these characters by pretending that they're doing something grand or something they're not. They are racists, and they are hateful, and they're bigots, and I'm not playing their games anymore.
The Industrial Revolution and its consequences have been a disaster.
Yeah.
We're coming back to 10K.
Yeah.
It is horrible to see. Like I say, being the fan of Star Wars that I've been, to see what happened because of the whole wokeness and everything else, it's been heartbreaking. Yeah. And I know there are people out there who still think it's great. I've got a friend who I knew. We used to watch movies together on a Wednesday evening many years ago, and we always used to discuss films and everything else. And he is now completely woke. And he says what he thinks people want to hear, but what makes me laugh is he wants to be a writer. He wants to write movies and everything else, but he's a white middle-aged man, and the whole trend that he's promoting at the moment is actually stopping him getting work.
Yeah, he's committed seppuku with that.
Yeah, and I don't understand it, and I just think it looks so stupid when he says, he liked The Matrix Resurrections because of bugs in it. Jessica Hardwick, is it? And she was great as the female character and everything else, and it was like, yeah, there was a lot more in the movie than just that. Yeah. And it's just kind of any movie which pushes this woke agenda, which has then got these females being all powerful and everything else, is automatically brilliant. And it's like, no.
Could you imagine watching a movie and that's the only thing you took from it was it pushed the leftist,
Yeah, exactly.
Sort of progressive agenda. It's like, I don't care about what. The action, the effect. But that girl with the blue hair has a dick. That's what really matters to me.
It is one of those things that, there's some people, I remember in the chat back on the site, it was a long time ago now, but we mentioned June, the 1986 June, and somebody sort of said, oh, that film's terribly homophobic. And I thought, was it? And I really had to think to myself,
how?
How?
Well, there were some moments in there which were actually, I thought, mildly homoerotic. When he pulls the plug out of that kid.
If anything,
there was a guy who was falling in love with a girl.
Oh, God, that's disgusting.
Clearly, they hate gay people.
Ew, what a big...
But with it, some people just go to the movies. Again, this is coming back to, there were people weeks ago saying Batman's going to be the greatest thing of all time. And I was thinking, why bother going and seeing it? Because you've already made your mind up. And some people will go to the movies with the whole, right, how is this going to offend me as a feminist? Well, maybe just enjoy the movie. Don't go in with precondition of I'm going to hate it because of X, Y, and Z. And again, but that's the whole world in which we live in at the moment. People just automatically prejudge no matter what.
They don't go to it to enjoy it as a work anymore. It's a potential tool to use as a leverage for something else. It's a way to make a statement that something that they actually care about. The movie doesn't matter to them. The character, the IP, whatever. It's okay. I can use this for my new blog post that I can get 20 million on Twitter to like, and then they'll notice me And that's the thing. You got to wonder how many of them that spout this shit even really believe it themselves.
Or they
You
don't.
tell like Jimmy Kimmel, for instance. He's playing that basketball player with the black face, but then he cries about it on 10 years later. It's like, dude, come on. You don't.
Yeah.
Do you really? You think he really believes that shit?
It's
I am
cream soda, Mad Ink. Just to answer your question, it's cream soda. A&W cream soda.
Cream is white. That's a little. Could you
That's
drink
a little
something
racist,
a little? Yeah, it's a little racist.
See, I'm not being racist. It's yellow.
So you hate Asians?
That's pretty racist. That joke is.
No, it says I'm not racist because I've chose the color yellow.
Yeah. We all know Asians are yellow.
I was going to.
I'm so white. I'm clear.
There is a great meme on an old quiz show in America, and it was a kids quiz show, and the question was to this young lad, and it says, how would you describe somebody, or what is it if somebody is yellow? And this kid goes, Asian. And there's an Asian kid sat next to him, and the answer was, no, a coward.
I would like to stick with my answer.
Joking about that though, I dated a Vietnamese girl for 4 years, lived with her, and I would always make reference to her. I would tell her oh, get your cute little yellow butt in there. Absolutely no offense at all on her.
Again, this is the thing, that the people that are getting offended by the offensive stuff have nothing to do and have no actual context with anything that's going on. I think I said this last week about Speedy Gonzalez, how he got cancelled, and half of Mexico went, why? And they said, well, because he was offensive, and he was like, we really liked him.
Did you ask us? No, it's offensive to white upper class college liberal kids in Harvard.
Yeah.
Well, F them.
Yeah. Nobody cares what they think. Well,
you were mentioning how these Sean, you were mentioning how all these leftists, they don't know anything outside their city. They don't understand how people are. I call them urban hillbillies.
Hey, that's offensive.
to actual hillbillies, yeah. You guys are much
more well-rounded. What do you think I am?
You're American.
Yeah. I live in the mountains of Appalachia. That was very.
I am looking forward to the time when this whole trend of wokeism is over. And I mean, I want to say when the whole trend of remaking movies is over, but that's never going to stop. I mean, to be fair, that has been going on for a long time.
It's been going on since movies have been. I mean, Wizard of Oz was first done in 1910. They did it in 1925 and 1939.
Yeah.
So.
As long as these ESG funds are going out to these places, they're not going to stop the woke shit. The government is subsidizing it, and they're not so they don't give a shit if we go and see it or not, because they're getting this ESG money, so that it doesn't matter. That's why they don't care if they run DC Comics into the ground. Marvel's the same way. It doesn't matter, because if you don't buy it, it doesn't matter. They'll just.
I don't know. I think this is all going to come to a head one way or the other. The money can't keep flowing like this. People are not going to support it one way or the other. Either they vote these people out, who then vote these funds out, or people stop seeing. I don't know. So I don't know what's going to happen. I mean,
that's very optimistic. I'd never change. That stay gold, pony boy.
Hey, look, I don't know that when this comes to a head, it's going to be an optimistic time. Okay.
Yeah, I agree with you there.
I don't know that this is necessarily the way we want it to go, to be honest with you. I hope that it's just a loss of money. I hope that's the worst of it.
I don't think so.
I have a lot of concerns. Hasn't this been fun talking about Batman?
If George wasn't so racist, we'd still have 10 viewers.
I thought I was reining it in today. I'm trying to reach out to the community.
He's trying to rap with the kids, get on the
There is a great. I won't post it on here, but there is a great little video of a priest, and he's trying to do a rap about Jesus, and he ends up using the N word at the end of it.
Everybody that's ever been on the
Jesus
internet.
is my.
Yeah, I believe everybody that's ever been on the internet for more than an hour has seen that video.
I actually have not, but I'm going. I'm going to go search for it now.
It's so.
Just put in priest.
Yeah.
I'm the
guy
on YouTube. I'm the guy that loves the guy talking to his dog and supplying the dialogue. So I got this beef. Yeah.
Doesn't take much. See, now we know why he doesn't like a masterpiece like the Batman. He's got this real highbrow entertainment, like a guy faking a voice for his dog.
Goddamn right. It's a lot more wholesome than Disney these days.
That's true.
Also, I found the news earlier that Disney is going to be offering a cheaper subscription, but with adverts.
Then what's the point of? I don't understand.
That's something else. Actually, do you know what? That's something else. Just to get on my bandwagon, or not bandwagon, my soapbox about it, just for a second. Is
here, I'll put you on.
Netflix. You pay for Netflix, and you get no adverts. I love that. Why is it you pay to go to the cinema, and then you still have to sit through 25, 30 minutes of adverts and trailers? I'm paying for the privilege of being there. I shouldn't have to see them.
That doesn't bother me, though. I kind of like sitting through the trailers, to be honest with you. I like seeing
trailers. But not adverts.
I'm with
George on this one. I'm fine with the trailers. Trailers are kind of part of the movie experience. But there is all these weird advertisements for
Tombstone
Coke
Pizza,
or all sorts of stuff. And then they get to so that part happens at the beginning. It's kind of like you're just waiting for the trailers. So I guess that's better than watching those stupid slideshows or nothing. And then they do the at least this is the way it is with AMC. They do the trailers, fine. And then they do this thing, says AMC celebrating 100 years. I'm like, okay, that's fine. Then they do this 2-minute long thing with Nicole Kidman walking into the theater talking about how much she loves the movies and how even heartbreak is somehow good here. And I'm like, just get to the fucking movie. And then they do, okay. And now our feature presentation. Okay, good. And then they did a Batman, like a preview for the Batman of the movie I'm getting ready to freaking watch. What are you doing? And then it's like, and then you could get this Ford Mustang or something. I don't know what it was. It was like a big tie-in. And I'm like, oh Jesus, just start it, please. It was supposed to start at 1. It's 2:30. This is a 3-hour movie. You've blown my day.
To be fair, I started watching the trailers for the Batman a year ago, and now I'm just about to start the film.
Yeah.
And then I've got 22 years until it's all finished. And again, just on this point, again, another thing that annoys me is now that you've got so many companies which co-produce things, and they have these long intros where it's kind of, a guy walking, I think it's in Family Guy, he sort of says, a guy walking into a hut, and I go, what's his story? And then it's just, advertising In a Hut Productions. And you have like 3 or 4 of these, and then it goes, Paramount Pictures presents a so-and-so and so-and-so. And I'm thinking, I know, I've just sat through 5 minutes of you talking about yourselves, and now you've put up a title card saying, oh, God, again, that just really annoys me.
I do understand that theaters, especially nowadays, got to do whatever they can to try to bring in some extra money because they're releasing the films on streaming. I mean, this is going to be on streaming.
Have they ever thought about having massage beds?
I'm down with that. Yeah, I'm not going to get one from the movie. At least I can get a happy ending from the massage bed. I'm here all week. Try the veal.
Yeah, it is a shame that, it's the same with buying the food. It's funny because my cinema, right very, very close to it, literally like a 20-second walk away, is a place called Wilkinson's, and they do their own pick and mix sweets. And it is literally about a third of the price of the cinemas for selling exactly the same sweets. I'm pretty sure the stands are exactly the same. And so it's kind of like, oh, shall I buy them from the cinema? Oh, I just got to fill out a mortgage application for my hot dog.
Yeah, okay.
You know, my favorite is now when you go to the gas pump to fill up the car, and the little thing plays advertisements for you the whole time you're trying to fill up.
I did not.
But isn't that just encouraging? Isn't that just encouraging people to cover themselves with petrol and set themselves on fire? Oh God!
Now that it's like $5 a gallon, that's too expensive. You have to like suck on the exhaust pipe or something while it's running.
I did read a good one the other day, and it says, "This Valentine's Day, take her somewhere expensive, the local gas station."
Yeah.
Okay, he's giving me shit for looking at my clock. No, this is a smartwatch, and I just got a notification from AMC thanking me for seeing the Batman yesterday. I shit you not. I'm not kidding.
Really?
It just came up in my email. It says, "Thank you for seeing the Batman." And then I think they're trying to sell me more stuff.
It's listening to it's eavesdropping
It's
on it.
listening. Yeah, I was going to say, thank you for watching the Batman. And maybe you would like to talk about this in a live stream.
It's telling me that I should see Death on the Nile, Dog, Uncharted, or Marry Me. Clearly, they understand my taste.
That's what gets me about Netflix sometimes. Netflix comes up and says, "Would you like to watch this Melissa McCarthy movie?" No, I wouldn't, Netflix. I don't know where you got that idea from. What do you mean I thought NGL was British? I am British. Listen to this accent. I speak the Queen's English.
The Queen that's drunk most of the time, but yes, you speak the Queen's English.
English,
like the rock band.
Yeah.
Yes.
We will rock you.
Now talk about a woke band talk about being woke before your time there. If Freddie Mercury hadn't died from AIDS, now he'd really be like a big time star. He's got all the points, all the gay, got AIDS, big teeth, minority,
and one hell of a voice.
Yeah.
Talk about Death of the Nile.
No, wait a minute. I disavow what I said, because if he was perfectly woke, he would have all those things, but he would have zero talent. Then he would be the perfect woke.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Unfortunately, the man was quite talented, so it kind of takes the edge off.
Yeah, sorry about that. You're too talented, Freddie. That's the problem, see, because you make all the other people look bad from your sheer talent.
Mannix has just said talk about Death on the Nile. Cannot say I'm looking forward to that in any way, shape, or form. Apart from seeing the lovely Archie Hammer, because I do like him.
Yeah, I would like to support
anybody who drinks the blood of whatever. He's all right in my book.
And then
he's pretty based,
whatever there's Colonel Mustard over there eating his own poop. We don't know why.
I kind of want to support the guy now. After I read his text and death threats and stuff, I'm like, man, I kind of like this guy. Who knew he had it in him? I want to see more of this.
At least he's got some balls.
Yeah.
Definitely living up to the Lone Ranger's squeaky clean reputation, isn't he?
Well, let's see. We had the Lone Ranger's a cannibal, and his sidekick is a alleged wife beater.
Yeah, I'm. Yeah, his wife though.
I know.
She may have had it coming. We don't know.
Well.
That is true. You don't know both sides
I'm
of the story.
disavowing myself, okay, guys? I'm disavowing myself.
I mean, they all got it coming. Woman moment.
Did you guys go back to Batman? You were talking about the Jack Nicholson one earlier. Did you see the pitch meeting on that? The guy does those pitch meetings. Because I had never thought of this before. I don't know why. I just never noticed it, but I just about lost it when he pointed it all out. He's like, "So, you got a movie for me?" "Yes, sir, I do." He's like, "Okay, well, what happens?" "Well, Batman comes out at the very beginning to get these two muggers, and he gets shot." "Oh." And he goes, "Yeah, but he's fine. He just pretends to be," and then he gets up and he beats up the two muggers. Does he give them back their stuff? No. He just lets them go and tells them to, I guess free publicity. I guess that's one way to go. So then what happens after that? He says, well, and then kind of goes through some of the movie. He says, and then he gets to, he saves Vicky Vale from the Joker. And then he has to fight them in an alley. What happens? Well, he gets shot, and he pretends that he's dead. He's like, again? He does it again? Like, yeah, he does. And then later on in the movie, he decides he's going to tell Vicky Vale his secret, so he goes over there as Bruce Wayne. But then the Joker comes in, and he shoots him, and he pretends he's dead. He's like, a third time? He does this a third time? He's like, yeah. So the Joker, then he comes out, he gets this big parade. He's going to gas the whole city. You know what Batman does? He goes, I don't know. Get shot and pretend he's dead. Seems to be his only move. I was like, I can't believe I never noticed that before. He does that 3 times in that movie.
Man, I haven't seen that movie since at least like 1993. I had not thought about that, but you're right.
I must admit, I did watch them recently in the last month or so, not in preparation for the Batman, but just I think the first one came up on a list, and I thought, oh, I haven't seen that in a while. They are good. The first 2 are good. Let's get that right. The Schumacher ones,
they don't feel like they've aged as well. I don't know. They're okay. The first 2, I just don't like them as much as maybe because I have so many different comparisons now. I still think that Christopher Nolan is the gold standard, although I wouldn't call it absolutely spot on Batman that you would know him from the comics. I would say it's still the best set of movies that have ever been portrayed of it.
I heard last night somebody call him James Bond with a bat suit, referring to the Nolan movies.
Yeah, I could see that. I mean, it's more of a. I mean,
I thought they meant that in the way that of just sort of keep rebooting Batman. You know, that you've had several.
Oh, they had several actors without even rebooting it. You had Keaton and then Kilmer and Clooney. You know,
I thought Val Kilmer did a pretty good job. The movie itself's not great, but I thought him was not bad in that.
Hey,
but
I don't know, he's wooden.
I'm not a Batman fan though, so don't take anything.
Val Kilmer's best movie is still Top Secret.
No, no, man. It's Doc Holliday in Tombstone. That's his.
I don't know.
Shut up.
No. I've seen Top Secret many a time, and it still makes me laugh now. It's a very funny movie. Don't get me wrong, Tombstone is a good movie, but out of the 2, I'd rather watch Top Secret again.
Well, the Val Kilmer face-off. Let's get ready to rumble.
Top Secret is funny though, absolutely.
It's like
what about Real Genius? You just throw that away? You just act like that never happened?
I only saw that last year for the first time because I'd never. It was one of those 80s movies that completely missed me by, and I watched it last year and I did quite enjoy it. Apart from the fact I thought he was playing the same character he played in Top Secret.
It's a very 80s movie.
All of you are wrong. You're both.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Tell
Mad Mardigan and Willow.
Yeah, I can't really argue with that. It's pretty. Yeah.
He was funny and he could fight really well, and he had a nice love scene with Joanne Whalley because they ended up getting married after that.
Yeah, they did.
That's how they met. So their scenes with their chemistry really worked. So I feel like overall, as far as an acting, he was great in that.
Right, Mannix has just put Doc Hollywood has never had Val Kilmer in it. No, that's a different movie. That's the Michael J. Fox that you're thinking about.
Which was remade later into Cars.
Was it really?
Was it?
Think about it.
I've never seen Cars.
You ever seen the first Cars, the Pixar?
No, I don't watch child movies like some people.
We've kind of got to check his.
Really?
I'm just trying to think back of all.
Really, they're not Nazi prison guards. Really? Okay.
Nazi prison guards obviously is not made for children. It's made for twenties.
Adult children.
Say, the last review that Sean did was that Thriller, a cruel movie. Yeah, I'm not going to put that in the kids category. I mean, there are a couple of scenes showing how children are made. That's true.
Very technical scenes, great detail.
The Cars movie was basically the same movie. It was the same movie as Doc Hollywood.
Chat is we don't see the chat for like 30 or 40 seconds or maybe more.
No, we see it. We see it immediately. They don't hear us respond to it for.
Oh yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah, there's a delay, so we see it, but then you don't hear us respond to it for almost a minute. It seems like maybe that's how come we can't respond to your pithy comments on the drop of a hat. So sorry about that.
Yeah, there's ever so such a delay. Anyway, welcome to the live stream this evening.
We just finished watching Batman. We started in March, and March 1st, I think, is when I started watching Batman. I just finished it 10 minutes ago. We can redo the jokes, too. I don't care.
Yeah, he wants to know how cars are made. If you've ever seen the movie that almost nobody's seen called Southland Tales, there's a hilarious fake commercial in it about how cars are made. It's like a car, an SUV gets on top of another one like a turtle, and the tail.
Interesting point about Southland Tales. I was nearly an extra in that.
No kidding.
Well, tell us the story, because we have nothing much more to talk about.
I used to do cinema checks. So I used to actually go to the cinema and write down all the adverts and trailers and then get to watch the film. And one week we had to, our local cinema had 15 screens. And so I had a couple of friends help me out because I couldn't do them all in one go. But they had movie-oki set up in this thing. And so you could, like with a karaoke, you sing over the top of something. You could act over the top of something. And I did an impression of Jake Blues from the Blues Brothers. Where at the end of it, he says...
I bet with the accent, it was dead on. Can you do it for us real quick right now? Could you say a few lines as Jake?
It was the bit where he's in the tunnel with Carrie Fisher, and I can't remember the actual lines now, but he says, "I'm sorry, baby, I didn't realise my tux didn't come back from the sealer. My car was running late." He goes through this whole thing about why he didn't turn up at the wedding. Anyway.
That was perfect. That was perfect. I thought I was watching the movie.
Point of order, just so you know, today is the 30th or 40th anniversary of John Belushi's death.
Oh, well.
There you go.
To the day?
To the day. If March 6th, I believe that's correct.
That is weird.
Are you accusing me of anything?
No, go ahead.
No, I was not on the grassy knoll.
Just a killer impression, man.
You seem to get a little nervous here all of a sudden.
Anyway, they gave us his card and it said if you phone up and do an impression of John Belushi down the phone, you could win a prize. So for a laugh, I did it. Anyway, about 3 or 4 weeks later, I get a phone call at random, and it said it was sponsored by Wrigley's gum, chewing gum, and they said, "Hello, my name's so and so. I'm from Wrigley's gum, right? There was a competition a little while ago, so and so." And I'm thinking, was it? Oh yeah. And the actual first prize was genuinely flights out to LA, stay in a hotel, a limo tour of Beverly Hills, an evening out in the top restaurant. There was a VIP pass to Universal Studios in LA and a walk-on part in the movie. And at first, my thought was, who did I tell about this that would phone me up to wind me up about this? But it was all true, and it was absolutely genuine. But it took them about the company that ran, I can't remember who it was now, who ran the competition, who were overseeing it. It took them about a year to arrange for me to get a walk-on part in Universal Studios in LA, which is the biggest movie production company like in the world. And anyway, one of the last offers were Southland Tales, or it was, oh goodness me, Bench Warmers, which was with David Spade.
Oh, yeah.
That masterpiece.
Yeah. And in the end, neither of them came off. I didn't get any walk-on parts, but I did go to LA and I did, I met Abraham Ben Ruby outside of a restaurant. He was very nice. But yeah, in the end, I got back home and I said, well, I'm a bit disappointed I didn't get the walk-on part because I'd have loved that. So they gave me £1,000. So I was like, I kind of wish they'd flown me back out there and actually did a decent walk-on part, because to actually be on a movie set would have been quite cool.
So if you're watching,
that story was about as boring as the Southland Tales movie was.
Wow, harsh.
I'm just kidding.
So if anybody from Universal is watching here, you owe our boy here a part.
Yeah.
So
we have lawyers.
So since they couldn't get you in the movie, they just gave you money. They paid you off. You should have demanded, like, no, I don't want this money. I want what I was promised.
I should have done. In retrospect, I wish I had. I wish, because they did say, would you like us to fly you out there again? And I kind of...
It's a lot more than $1,000, I can tell you that.
Yeah, and I kind of wish I had, but I mean, I had a pretty good holiday. Like I say, we had a nice limo tour around all the famous people's houses and stuff, and we went to Tiffany's and all that kind of thing. And
Ooh,
you know,
did you
it
buy
was for
anything?
me. Not in Tiffany's, no. There was this is funny though. In there, there was I don't know if you remember this name, Delta Goodream. She was an actress in a couple of Australian soaps, and she was also a singer. And I saw her in Tiffany's, and I was going to go up and talk to her. And my wife said, "No, you're not." I said, "Why not?" And we ended up having this little argument. And we went outside. I said, "Why couldn't I talk to her?" And she goes, "She broke up that couple on TV." And I was going, "Well, she's not going to do it to us, is she?" I mean, I'd like it if she had, because she's very attractive. But I mean, it was just kind of.
Did you beat your wife for that? For embarrassing you like that?
No, she's still in LA though. I did leave her there. But yeah, like I say, the overall trip was pretty good. But I was gutted that I didn't do a walk on park, because I could have had a DVD with me in the background somewhere.
Yeah, that would have been big. So my big surprise on this is that you didn't get a letter from the state of California trying to tax you for that £1,000 they gave you.
No, that was nothing to do with it. It was
Well,
like I say, it was.
yeah, but you were there, so they'll tax you if you drive to the state. They're trying to.
No, it was just the company who ran the thing. I can't remember what they were called now, but it really annoyed me that I didn't do it, and like I say, I should have done. In the end, I nearly got on as a background extra for Alice in Wonderland with Tim Burton. Have I told you this story?
No.
I hate this story. It's only quick. Shut up. We've got nothing else to bloody talk about.
Go ahead. I'm gonna zone out for 20 minutes.
I'm just going to browse through this magazine.
Not George Lucas, also known as Human Ambien.
I got to be an extra on Alice in Wonderland. Tim Burton was there with Helena Bonham Carter, and we did the shooting in some of the morning, and then they changed the scene over and everything else. And it was nice. I sat behind Tim Burton, listened to him give direction, which was quite nice. When they told us that they could get rid of, we could go and get change and everything from our outfits and stuff, I thought, right, I'm going to go and talk to Tim Burton, because they can't throw me off the set now. And I hate myself for this. I was completely and utterly starstruck at both him and Helena Bonham Carter. And I just remember really sheepishly going up to him and going, "Hey, Mr. Burton, I'm a really big fan of your work. You too, Miss Bonham Carter. Bye." And walked off around the corner and went, "What the hell was that?" Like, just go back and talk to them like normal people. And I didn't. And I thought, ever since then, I'm never going to be starstruck again. I don't care who it is.
And all the urine on my pants, God.
And then that's how
Hope
Tim
they
Burton
didn't
got
notice.
and once he met you, that's how Tim Burton got the idea to remake Planet of the Apes.
No, but funny enough, Tim Burton said he would never shoot in England again.
Isn't he married to Helena Bonham Carter?
Yeah, they had their kids there and everything.
I can't stand her.
Really?
She's good.
Yeah,
she's
she
good in
plays
Fight Club.
She plays this. I know she was in Flight. You're not
Oh,
supposed to.
she's
talk
good.
But you're not supposed to talk about it. Yeah, I don't know. She just seems to play the same character in every movie to me.
Yeah, that is kind of true.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, she does play. Well, she
does
does play a
have
lot
that.
of weird, but
She has got that British range.
okay, you're British, so you could either be evil admiral on a star destroyer or evil in other
bad
things.
guy, bad guy.
Bad guy.
She's definitely the female version of Gary Oldman.
Nah, hey man, don't. Gary Oldman's one of those guys who just seems to melt into whatever part he's doing.
No kidding.
I'm always.
If you're gonna ever Google Gary Oldman, make sure you leave in the R. Gay old man. Wow, I didn't realize he did that.
Did your own picture come up in that?
I'm old.
Why did you turn on my camera?
Hang on a minute. What was the third thing? That's another Simpsons joke there.
There went 3 of our viewers.
Well, guys, I think we better wrap it up quickly.
Yes. Before we, yes.
Before George tells another story.
He's so rude.
Well, thank you very much for watching. This has been another insanely terrible stream from lastmovieoutpost.com. We'll be back next Sunday. Same bat time, same bat channel. You see what I did there?
Yeah, it was very cool.
Yeah, I know. My mom says I'm cool. There's a Simpsons reference.
That's 6.
Keep them coming. We're lastmovieoutpost.com. You can reach us contact us at lastmovieoutpost.com. I am at Drunken Yoda 1. He is at Not George Lucas 1, and the entire site can be reached at Movie Outpost. All of those are on Twitter. We have of course, smash that like button. Smash it. Do it now. Do it.
If you do subscribe, there's more chat about Batman from myself and Eggy, which is quite insightful. I will happen to say, and it's spoiler free.
I'm looking forward to seeing that. I want to hear what you guys come up with.
Yeah, because he loved it, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm guessing he didn't have a problem with the ending.
No.
Okay.
I mean, obviously, there's something wrong with him. I don't know what. But,
that's why he's not been back on. That's why we haven't invited him back on.
Well, he's British.
I think he's not allowed the internet after 6 o'clock. So
his wife is very wise.
Yeah,
the homies in. I think.
Yeah, we don't. We've already got the one British guy. That's enough special needs people for right now, I think. So
I'm filling the quota.
That's right, quota man. So. I think that's good enough. George, got anything left? Anything else you want to say? Any more dull, boring, meandering stories you want to throw out there?
You miserable sod.
Agreed.
No, apart from, I am going to try and get the podcast up and running again, hopefully in the next few weeks. And like I say, I've also got a couple of videos which will be going live soon as well. One of them, I think, is hopefully quite amusing.
Excellent. And of course, you can every Saturday see the entertainment news. I will have more overlooked videos, I hope, coming up soon. Sean, you got anything left, or are you just basically just a hanger-on that just latches on to George and I's fame?
I was zoned out when he started that second story. I didn't even know we were still live. I thought we already ended.
I think you've hurt George's feelings.
He's British. They don't have feelings.
They got about as much feelings as they do teeth.
All right, you two. I will see you next week, hopefully with a much better stream than this one. Thank you very much, Outposters, and we'll see you on the next stream.